The recent floodwaters in Montego Bay, St. James has left the family in mourning after a 12-year-old girl and her 68-year-old grandmother were both washed away. The 12-year-old girl's body has been recovered, however, the grandmother's body has still not been found. When we return, we'll discuss this on the program. This is Links 007 TV. Let's talk, and we'll be right back with the full details to come. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. This is Links 007 TV. Let's talk. A real tragic and unfortunate situation took place during the course of this week as there was a heavy downpour of rain in the St. James area of Montego Bay, Jamaica. When it all subsided, a grandmother and her 12-year-old granddaughter were both missing. However, the granddaughter's body was found recently and the grandmother's body has still not been located. This has left the family in shock and in total disbelief about the unforeseen circumstances that unfolded recently. So let me update you with the latest we have in relation to this story. But what happened here is very sad, and we here at Links 007 TV just want to take this opportunity to express our sincere condolences to the family and friends of this family, who I know at this time is having a real difficult time focusing on the tragic loss of might be two family members, because up to date the grandmother's body has not been found and the authorities are presuming that the grandmother did not survive this ordeal as well. So a St. James woman and her granddaughter were swept away by floodwaters in Westgate, St. James during the course of this week as the country experienced torrential rainfall that lasted for some time that caused serious flooding across different parts of the country. Her husband, 71 years old, Beres Walters, and their 25-year-old daughter were rescued. The family were traveling in a car that became inundated with water. One of the occupants of the motor car recounted that she had to hold on to a branch and swim to safety. She said everyone managed to get out of the vehicle before rushing waters caused it to overturn. The car then disappeared, as well as the wife of the elderly man and a 12-year-old child. Heavy rains have been lashing some parishes since last week, and the authorities are appealing to individuals that they should not attempt to cross flooded roadways based on these recent tragic and unforeseen circumstances. Before we go any further, I just want to recount the flooding experience that residents had to endure, and also the rescue effort that was undertaken by members of the community. Let's go over to that right now.
Would block up to bomb. At the Westgate right now. I don't know normal. See there, I don't know normal. See there, watch it. Watch it, I don't know normal. See there, vehicle, rain. Watch it. See there, people stuck in a.
And I look on Creek Street. It's a Creek Street from Courts area, brother. And on the yard.
The survivors of the Montego Bay flood tragedy that claimed the life of a 12-year-old girl have reacted to the terrifying ordeal after the vehicle in which they were traveling was tossed aside by floodwaters during torrential rainfall on Tuesday afternoon. The body of Janelle Waters, a 7th grade Montego Bay High School student, was recovered near a cruise ship pier in the tourism capital. Her grandmother, 68-year-old Beryl Waters, is still missing and is feared dead. Janelle Berris and the child's aunt Shannon Walters were passengers in a motor car being driven by Berris Walters, Janelle's grandfather, when they were trapped by floodwaters along Westgate Main Road in Montego Bay, St. James. The car washed into the Montego Bay River, where Berris and Shannon were rescued by passers-by and members of the Montego Bay Freeport Fire Department after raging water caused the vehicle to overturn. Recalling the tragic loss, Berris Walters said that they were on their way home from Rose Heights community during the heavy rain when they caught by surprise by the magnitude of the flooding waters. Shannon recounted how she and her father battled the waters and grasped onto branches in a desperate bid as they watched Beryl and Janelle swept away. Clavian Williams, one of the men who braved the floodwaters to rescue the survivors, said that someone alerted him to the unforeseen circumstances after the vehicle overturned. Without thinking, he said he sprang into action. Williams said that the only thing that he could do was to clutch Berris, bracing his back against a riverbank while allowing the others to pull the elderly man from the dangerous floodwaters. The 12-year-old Janelle Waters loved her grandmother so much that she thought of not being able to visit her reduced her to tears last week Friday. The young girl had made plans to spend Easter break with her father's 68-year-old grandmother, Beryl Waters. The plan was to stay with her until the following Saturday. Little did the family knew that this would have been the last time Janelle Waters would have seen her grandmother. She called her grandmother on Wednesday when she went on break. So Miss Beryl called me and said that Janelle called to say that she's coming over the weekend. Janelle's mother, Christine Gilbert, told reporters during a visit to the family home on Wednesday. She recalled when a decision was made not to let Janelle make the trip on Friday. Her daughter began to cry. I said to her, "Don't cry. Every disappointment is for a reason. Because you asked Daddy twice and something came up. So maybe it's the best for you to go another time," said Gilbert. On Saturday, heavy rains that lashed St. James kept Janelle from visiting her grandmother. The young girl was determined not to make another day go by without seeing her grandmother. She insisted because she said she promised Grandma that she would come. She didn't go to church on Sunday because she woke up and got ready early. She really just wanted to see her grandma, Gilbert said, her voice crackling with grief and the unforeseen circumstances that was to come. She and her grandmother were very close and they had a close bond. The family is left devastated based on the news that spread that the grandmother and the 12-year-old granddaughter body were swept away by floodwaters. Gilbert last spoke with her daughter on Tuesday while the child ran errands with her 25-year-old aunt Shannon Walters, her grandfather Berris Walters, and her beloved grandma. She had called as she usually did when away from the family to keep her mother in her loop and also to relieve the boredom of waiting for her grandmother to complete a transaction at the bank. During the course of the week, she called me and said, "Mommy, I'm at the bank with Grandma, Auntie Shannon and Grandpa," Gilbert recalled. Janelle ended the phone call saying, "That is what I called to say. I was feeling bored." Her daughter, Gilbert said, was a student who dreamed of becoming a doctor. She was a 7th grade student of the Montego Bay High School. She was always happy. She was very active in the church. She loved Korean movies and she always would tell me that she would also try to speak the Korean language. Her mother said before she was overwhelmed with emotion a few minutes before. The distraught mother had been sitting on the child's bed, staring at all the other things in the world just in order to reflect on the memories of her daughter. For Janelle's father, Nicholas Walters, the grief is just a gut-wrenching moment. The moment the family realized something was wrong is etched in the memories forever. I was here sitting and watching the television when I saw the flooding in Montego Bay. It was about some minutes to 6 in the evening, he said. He alerted Gilbert, who ran to turn on the radio. The couple would soon learn that their family was in danger. The Member of Parliament, Mr. Clark of the Jamaica Labour Party, St. James Central, who is the political representative for the community where the family lives, visited them on Wednesday to offer his condolences. The father is a good friend of mine, he stated. We play cricket together and it was very sad to see what transpired to the family. The MP said that the tragic has touched the hearts of many residents living in the Cornwall Court area, as 2 young boys had drowned earlier and have been washed away a few years ago as well. Up to late Wednesday, there was no sign of Beryl Waters, the grandmother who is aged 68 years old. Emergency team from the Jamaica Fire Brigade, the police and other agencies spent days combing the banks of the Barnet River for the signs of Janelle's beloved grandmother. The car in which they were traveling was pulled from the Barnet River earlier in the day. It had been pushed from the waters into a murky area of the river about 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Beryl Walters and her granddaughter Shannon Walters were rescued. Little Janelle's body was found on Tuesday night. As the family tried to console each other, we're just using this medium to appeal to motorists that whenever you see flooded roadways, please proceed with caution and use your judgment in order to determine whether or not it is safe to cross. We here at Links 007 TV express our condolences once more to the family and friends of these 2 victims whose life were tragically lost by flood waters in Montego Bay, St. James. This has been Links 007 TV. Let's talk. Thanks for watching, and if it's the first time you're watching, please subscribe to the channel. Have a blessed and productive day from the Links TV family.
Links TV. Entertainment with a difference. Subscribe now to Links TV.